Hello Gemini, welcome back to Path of Enlightenment Tarot. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back, and for those of you who are new, welcome. I am Nicole. Gemini, this reading is for what your inner child wants you to know. So I decided to kind of deviate away from the beginning of the month reading, or the overall month, and then the mid-month I will do, but decided to go with something different here. So this is going to be for your sun, your moon, your rising, Venus, if you feel it applies. So, check it out for your Venus placement. If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You guys come into the things that you need to exactly when you're supposed to, always, regardless. So, whenever you're hearing this message, that's when it's meant for you. So, Gemini, there's a lot of push and pull kind of energy that I was getting with this. And honestly, it feels tiring. I feel tired all of a sudden just sitting down to do this. And it's kind of like, you could be, I'm going to adjust just a little bit here. You could kind of be feeling like the idea of other people working with you, or you working with other people, seems to be a little bit of a tug of war. And we're going to see what this has to do with your inner child, via the cards. But intuitively, that's kind of what I was picking up on from the start here. So we're going to go with that and see what Spirit has to say about it, okay? So I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for being patient while I took my hiatus. Back to business as usual. All right. I said that push and pull, are people working with you, vice versa? Preservation and productivity. Gemini, it feels like things are ending before they even get started anymore. And I do think that that's kind of been the humdrum way of life, is what Spirit is calling it. That's just the way that it seems to be happening for you, and has been for some time. It's like you start to get a flow. It starts to jive and vibe and go, and then something happens. And if you can hear my stomach growling, my sincerest apologies. It's got something to say today too. Whoa, that came out of nowhere. But it's like you're just trying to make your way. You're trying to make your way through things, and it's just and I feel as if you are trying to, I'm going to say, keep yourself safe, but not in the sense of fearing danger, but just safe in a sense of security. Okay, so I don't know. My stomach is growling, my wrist is cracking. What in the hell is going on here? All right, let's see. Spirit, for Gemini, what does Gemini's inner child want them to know at this time? Balance, that push and pull. Your soul is seeking balance, Gemini, and I think part of that comes with the duality of who you are, right? There's always this side of Gemini, that side of Gemini. My kiddo is a Gemini, and I see that. I can relate to seeing that. It's what part of me am I going to embrace today? Because it's you transform that energy. You go from one to the other, right? It's kind of like the flip-flopping of the two. There's been a lot of energy in the readings I've done today around silence for some reason. I don't know what it is with you air signs. I did Aquarius, and now you guys, where it's you're waiting to hear something back. So your emotional energy, your energy in general, could be part of that flip-flop, right? And I kind of feel like it's triggering because it's been something that has always happened. You see some really beautiful points to things, and then it's okay, now today I'm feeling down and out, and I'm not really invested in whatever this is, because it's just kind of whether it's boring you or it's not moving along fast enough, and I just heard from Spirit, I want it, and I want it now. Why does everything always have to be put on hold? Why do I always have to wait for these things to happen or play out the way that I would like for them to? And it's a constant waiting, just this again, waiting back and forth. And that's how this feels, is how is this happening? How do we go from this to that? But Gemini, you go from this to that, right? And then back to this. It's who you are. But it's almost like seeing this part of yourself of who you can be in personality and character, and then watching it happen out in the world around you, and that becomes frustrating. So it's like it's almost as if, it is as if, not even almost, it is that you need other people or other situations to make up their mind, because it leaves you feeling like you're in limbo. Ironically enough, that's also who you are. It's like you're irritated with the parts of yourself that you're seeing out in the world. There's that trigger, right? Something is being mirrored back to you about patience, about that balance, like making up a sound decision or picking a clear path. And the things that you're seeing out in the world are striking a chord within you. It's like tap dancing on your last nerve. So let's see what else comes up here for Gemini, please, Spirit. 2 of them, formation and space. Spirit says denying yourself the right to see it. It's like every time you see these things, you that's where you pull away. There's that push and pull. That's where you're pulling away. It comes into form, it starts to make progress, and then it's like, I'm going to take a step back again. So you see how this is going back and forth for you, right? She's there, then she's not. So it's, I'm sorry, I had some stuff coming up across the screen there. It is this push and pull, like here I am, there I go, here I am, there I go. And this is the second time I've seen this card today. For you air signs, consistency. Consistency in perspective. You air signs, bless you all, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, it's a catch-22. You're expecting to have things done both ways. Plain and simple. It's like saying, I want this, but I also want that. But you can't do it both ways. Like, it's like trying to be in 2 places at once. You can't. That's how this feels. It's like whatever's going on in your, Spirit's saying, your material world. It's like if you want to be a cook, I don't know, terrible example maybe, you want to be a chef, but then you also want to go paint murals on the walls downtown. Well, there's only so much of you to go around. There's only so much of maybe other people to go around, and it's like you're losing the patience for these things. But again, ironically enough, Gemini, that's you. One day you're on board with things, the next day you're not. One day you're super happy, the next day you're super low. It's like you're expecting things to be different, but it's about the energy that you're emitting, and your inner child is going, by goodness, can we just have balance? Can we find an intermediate space that says this is where we're going to be and this is where we're going to go? You know, but it's also, Gemini, a part of your process, the mental process of understanding where this imbalance or lack of stability comes from. Some of you could have, they're saying lost a home or moved or something like that. It may have created imbalance for a little while, and I think you're trying to regain some footing. Okay? You could have had something very specific in the last few years, specifically the last 3 years, that required some kind of movement, or something about your foundations were abruptly changed. So now it's finding your footing, and it's like you could have some resentments towards a home situation from years ago, but I also feel like that this is indicative of some teen years too. For some of you, this is kind of like a repeat pattern, whether this was like maybe your parents got divorced, you know, broken home, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes we're better off that way. But then now as an adult, you've experienced the same thing. And now it's like, oh, well, I'm now watching myself go through what my parents went through, but I want that back. But I also enjoy this newfound freedom. So it's that, again, that push and pull energy going back and forth with things. And it's like, but you're being asked by Spirit or your guides, your angels, to address that imbalance and truly root yourself down to what is comfortable for you. Not, Spirit said, not living by the opinions of others, but living by what it is you know to be true within you and what the balance is that needs to occur. So I hope that message is making sense for you guys. But I also feel like Gemini in this push and pull, like the energy that you've been in this back and forth for whatever reason for some time, I do believe that you are seeking consistency moving forward. And I give you props for that. Like you are wanting that balance. You are wanting the consistency of how you want your life to look. And I do feel like you are stepping into that energy and working towards it. But the flip to that, and I've been saying that, it's come out of my mouth a lot lately, is that now you're seeing that influx in energy outside of yourself. So it's like where maybe you didn't realize where you were for the longest time in this back and forth. Now you're starting to see how, you can even call it erratic, it appears to be on the outside of you. It's like you're getting a bird's eye view of what that looks like in a separate perspective, right? It's hanging up above the clouds, watching other people do the same things you did and going, this is annoying. This is aggravating. 11:11. Spirit's protecting you, but they also need you to acknowledge that energy, okay? So, and I do think you're trying to distance yourself with this space from those energies, but it's just, it's like, it's getting under your skin. It's an annoyance at this point. It's frustrating to watch this happen outside of you. So, and I will say too, Gemini, if you feel like other people weren't patient with you, and now you're losing your patience, you know, you were, we'll say, expecting somebody to be patient with you and understanding of where you were at some point, where maybe you weren't making clear decisions, you weren't communicating well, you were shutting down, you were taking longer than you should have, or, you know, others would have liked. And you asked for space and understanding during that specific time. It's being empathetic now because somebody, you were asking or requiring of somebody else to do that for you, but now you're shoes on the other foot. Now they need you to give them that grace. And this doesn't have to be with the same person or same situation. This could just be somewhere else, another experience, right? So it's kind of like what goes around comes around. So where you needed that, now it's like Spirit is pushing you to have to reciprocate that energy, that flow of understanding, empathy, compassion, and patience. Okay, so, and I just feel like it's really testing you at this time. So you feel really tested right now. So let's see, what else for Gemini? What else does Gemini's inner child want them to know at this time? I kind of feel, like I said, about the safety, the security Spirit just brought up. Like I said, it's not so much like saving yourself or really like heavily protecting yourself, but it's like, that's your go-to mode, is to go back into that energy and just self-preserve. Okay, I don't know, that just came in. Catalyst energy, Gemini 9. This, you're realizing, I said about the fear, right? There it is. This is motivating you to, this is the catalyst. If you hear the door vibrating, the wind is blowing really heavy. Like, I don't know why it does that, but it does it like, but yeah, anyways, maybe it's your vibration, right? But I will say your vibration, your frequency is changing. This catalyst here is making you address the fears of the insecurity, the instability of maybe a life from the past, Gemini. It's like it's coming up to the surface to tell you that the fears that you have around situations have been irrational. That there will always be something and even somebody, Spirit is saying, to help create that balance in your life. But again, it's for you to be open and receptive to what it looks like from the outside perspective. So this is for your good. This is for you to take a look at you yourself, that 9 energy, of how you are interacting with others and the expectations that you are having when it comes to other people and situations. You've allowed yourself to live in this fear that keeps you back and forth or not being able to pick a certain direction. again, to the fact that now someone else is in that space. And it's like you're forgetting because of your own insecurities. And we all have them. I'm not picking on you. Like you need to know to bring yourself peace, right? But how can you expect everybody else to know if you yourself didn't know? So again, it's being mirrored back to you, but this is a catalyst energy. And what it's asking you to do is up level. And I'm going to say, if you're dealing with somebody in a partnership that's like this, this is Spirit's way of getting you to do it differently moving forward. Like, why is it that you hunker down under a fear-based idea that I can't take anymore, so I'm just going to shut down and just either scream or hibernate? And it's a space of avoidance for you from time to time. Like, I don't want to deal with it, so I'm just going to avoid it. But then again, now you've got somebody else or something else going on in your life that is avoiding certain situations, and you're wondering why. Why did you do it? Where did that come from within you that you felt the need at some point to be in that energy? Because again, it's not even so much of, I mean, yes, you need to have compassion and love for other people in their worst of times or whatever there is they're going through. But again, this is to reflect it back to you for the purpose of understanding why that influx comes in, okay? Where is that being triggered from? Sisterhood. What did I just said? You're always going to have the support that you need, whether it's situational for yourself, your guides, or somebody else. And Taurus energy, sisterhood came out. Healing aspect. There's the healing, the Centaurus. Heavy on the Taurus energy. This could also, I'm going to say to you too, Gemini, you know, Taurus, obviously the sign before you. For some of you, your inconsistencies in life started with a Taurus. Taurus for you is like oil and water for some reason in this reading. What they represent you want, but what they bring to your life is total opposite. I mean, you're an air and earth sign. They typically don't mesh too well, right? Your equivocal balance would be a fire sign if this is partnerships or even friendships too. Air and fire. And you've got water and earth. But I feel like Tauruses, for some of you, are going to be that sore spot. Or this could have started with a Taurus that created this sore spot of making your life feel off balance. And you don't vibe with them well. It's like there could be an aspect of jealousy. There could be an aspect, because you guys are so close to one another, you know, budding signs, that you both desire somewhat of the same thing. And I think it's going to depend too, Gemini, on the decan that you're in. So you've got the first, second, and third decan. I think for those of you who fall closer in that first decan realm, and Tauruses that are falling in the mid to the last, the third decan, you can see, it's like, you ever hear people say, like, you and your mother are so much alike, it ain't no wonder you don't get along. Or you and your sister or you and your brother are so much alike, no wonder you don't get along. It's because you both emanate the same traits. They're mirroring back to you almost exactly who you are. And this is creating an instability. Now, I'm going to say to you, Gemini, too, not every one of you are dealing with a Taurus, but also, you know, what other placements do they have that could be indicative of the same, of Taurus or Earth energy, that seems to, again, show a similar trait to you of which and whom you are. Okay, so I hope, like, this is making more sense to me too as we go along. So first I'm like, where is this going? But this is meant to trigger you to heal. Heavy on the Taurus energy for you guys. And this is also, we see a lot of Taurus in the Hierophant right now, and we will for the next 20 years with Pluto and Aquarius, because it's structures. It's belief systems. It's what we were taught to believe, or what it is that we need to, you know, we believe that we're only in this energy of this chaos or this instability because of X, Y, and Z. But now maybe your belief system is changing, that it doesn't always have to be that way. The structure around why you have seen things in that perspective is starting to shift as a result. So could be dealing with a Taurus, doesn't have to be. But again, somebody around you, Gemini, is really implementing a catalytic awareness that's going to bring massive change for you if you embrace this energy for the positive. So, and I'm going to say too, you're getting close to the end of a cycle with this healing. At some point, if you are dealing with a Taurus, you could get to the point where, for some of you, it could turn into an F you kind of thing. Like, I'm done with you. I don't want nothing to do with you. And creating space away from that as well, so that you can move on and move, you know, into a more balanced space that's harmonized, rather than this push and pull thing you got going on. All right, so what is this balance about for? You know, there's Spirit just brought to my attention too with this consistency card. Whomever you're dealing with that's mirroring this back to you, Gemini, I will say this, that like when you are in, we'll call it go mode, you consistently stay in go mode or in a good mood, right? When you are on the opposite end of that, in a kind of mood or low mood or whatever you want to call it, you consistently stay in that for a while before you flip 21, 12 on the clock mirroring. You stay in that, and then it's back to where you were, and you know, you do that bounce thing, right? However, whomever you're dealing with, it is not the same. They can pull that trigger in seconds with you. They're impatient with you. You're impatient with them. Again, oil and water is kind of like explosive energy, ready to pop off at any time. It's like shaking up that pop bottle and then opening, expecting it not to go anywhere. But that's how this dynamic between you and whomever this is that's triggering you is coming in. Like, it's just a situation where even for you, Gemini, trust could be an issue. And I say it, words and actions, do they match? They could say, oh yes, we're going to do X, Y, and Z right now. And then something happens and they change their mind, and now what you were looking forward to with this person or situation, they're talking about phone calls too, something heavy about phone calls and communication changes. It's like, you know, oh, let's have a call at 5 o'clock when I'm off work. Great, sounds great, wonderful. And then at 4:59 or 5:05, like give or take a little bit there, right? They're like, never mind, I can't do it now. And it's like, well, shit, you know, I looked forward all day to talking to you and having this conversation. It's the way this comes through. And that's irritating the hell out of you, okay? But their lack of consistency, and I feel like the further you go down this rabbit hole with whatever this is, their consistency is becoming less, and you're striving more for that consistency. They're pulling you out of it. You're trying to pull yourself into it and stay there. Okay? So what is this balance about? What is this balance about for Gemini? 9 of Swords. 4 of Swords. Anxiety. And I do feel like this push and pull is like, once you start to feel your footing again, where you feel like, oh, I'm finally secure, I'm safe, I'm happy, I'm resting, I'm rejuvenating, I'm replenishing, something happens in that push and pull that sends you back into this 9 of Swords. And it's just like, it's like the, you know, they say never ending nightmare of the 9 of Swords, right? Like, that's what it feels like. Is like, it's the never ending situation. It just keeps going and going and going. It's like a psycho energizer bunny rabbit, right? Magician, you know, he's sending out and receiving it back. Pay attention to, Gemini, to what goes around comes around, like I said, and there's that infinity symbol. This is going to be a year a lot about karmic, you know, you can call it, I don't know that rewards is ever the right word, but you know, what you put out you get back. And that's kind of what's happening there with the Magician. And you know, you could also feel like, you know, you're wanting that 9 of Cups. She's breaking free. She's feeling all the good stuff. For those of you, and I don't want to say that you guys don't have control over your situation, because for the most part you do. But it's like, all you want is peace. This person or situation that you're dealing with could be a re-implementation of somebody from your younger years. potentially a father figure. And it's like you just want to break free of a stigma that's attached to that. Like, I just want this personal freedom. I want this personal happiness. I just want things to be in flow. And when I say about those, you know, the karmic rewards or whatever, this is also, you know, you could be looking now back at an unhealed version of yourself versus where you are. And there's like this reflective period that's transpiring that says, this is where you were. This is now where you are. And it's like trying to separate the two, create space between who you were and who you are and who you're becoming. That can be uncomfortable too, because it's like with whomever this is, you're reliving this regularly, and that's creating this anxiety. It feels like you can't quite burst away from it, but I'm telling you, Gemini, it's coming. That split that's going to free you up is coming, okay? This catalyst, what is this about? Chariot, I just said it's coming. Like, you're going to move forward, and there it is. This is meant to propel you forward. There's going to be a separation. 3 of Wands, 7 of Cups, 10 of Wands, the burdens, right? Laying those burdens down, 9 of Pentacles, moving into your own space. There is coming a point here where there's going to be a separation for you in this situation, but it's also understanding why this situation was presented to you, okay? But it is like if you were caught in a situation, you're moving out of it. You're moving away from it. And I think over the next 4 years, Spirit is saying, for some of you, you may be tied to a situation because of children, or you may be a child of parents that are you could be 30 years old and your parents could be going through a divorce, right? Like, it doesn't really matter. But like, whatever the dynamic is here that maybe you didn't have control, that it may take some time to resolve things because there's some kind of contractual issue to a situation. Over the next 4 years, Spirit is saying, you are slowly making movement away from something. It's like your soul is repelling you away from a situation, but you had to see the situation. You had to see this for what it was, to be on the flip side of that energy that you do emit sometimes, right? Like, when we all have those things, we all get triggered by things and go, oh shit, was I acting that way? Like, oh my goodness, that's horrible. Like, better straighten up, right? That's really what this is about. But you're recognizing that there's a world of opportunity outside of this situation, that maybe what you thought you were going to be tied to forever, it was keep saying temporary today. It was a temporary thing. It wasn't meant to last. It was meant to teach you something. And we have a hard time with those lessons somehow. 7, you're learning to have your boundaries. This was a catalyst for you kind of strengthening yourself to have specific boundaries when it comes to people and situations as well. So, but it's fast forward movement with that Chariot. It's off to the races again, seeing the light and the dark of a situation, seeing both sides of the situation, the duality within you and outside of you, okay? Formation and space. What is this about for Gemini, please, Spirit? I don't know why they told me 2, but we're going to take the 2. Judgment. Karma. Goes around, comes around. I said you were trying to create space. 8 of Cups, you're walking away. Formation of the wisdom, the knowledge, the Hermit. You know, she's taking time out for herself up on this cliff. Another 9. The 9 of Swords. And the catalyst was a 9. So a lot of 9s. 999 could be a very important number for you right now, Gemini. You could be seeing that a lot. The 9th of the month could have been very important. Or just I'm going to tell you, they're saying pay attention to every 9th of the month throughout the year of 2024. I don't know what it is with the 9s for you, but it's a thing. But they're saying it's after completion of walking away. So it's like you may be going through new cycles. I mean, we go through new cycles all the time, right? They open and they close in various areas. But it's like somehow the 8 is a representation of that flow and the closure of that particular cycle. So each 9, you're stepping into something independently new on your own, figuring out the next phase in 2024. Okay, so this is really kind of immersing yourself into what makes you feel good, and learning that there are, there's only so much that you can do in situations, and then you have to walk away to self-preserve. You know, we've seen that energy underneath. Gemini, no good deed goes undone. You could be dealing with a Scorpio, and your stability could be tied to that Scorpio. They are giving you that security that you seek and have sought for a long time. And it's like, yes, finally, with that Judgment card, yes, finally, permanent closure on a situation that is closing out. And again, I get this, I can't help but get this idea of family ties somehow. And you look at this situation, and there's a child here in the middle. That's, you know, it seems pleasantly caught between these two, but there's two completely different people, and it's like, are they gonna work together to make this Ten of Pentacles happen? So this could be in regards to you and your children, or again, you could be 30 years old and still be the child in the middle of a situation. But how does it harmonize? And I think that anything that was difficult, any karmic attachments and ties, they're being cut loose. They're being let go of, so that you can have this security, this stability. You can have the people around you that are going to support you, rather than living in this. This Two of Swords is representing itself to me as the Seven of Cups in a way. A constant state of confusion, feeling like this one wants something from you, that one wants something from you. Everywhere you turn, you're being picked and poked and prodded at. At some point, it's almost like somebody in a situation became the property or the reward, and that too creating this imbalance. And that seems to be clearing up, and you're being able to remove yourself in time away from that. And I think that you're already creating space internally from these situations now that you're seeing what it's like on that side of the fence. Okay, so for the sisterhood, you're finding your soul tribe here, Gemini, whether you know it or not. Stay out of your own way, but purity and understanding is really coming in. Knight of Pentacles, the Fool. It is a new journey. It is a tangible journey of, Spirit is saying, self-assurance. That, like, I've done this. I managed to do this. You know, traveling, moving on, moving forward. Some communication along the way. Having heartfelt conversations with people. Being honest and raw with what is happening as well. Give me one more card, please, Spirit. The Fool comes back out again. You gotta be kidding me. Again, this new Queen of Cups. You are being loved and nurtured. You could be dealing with a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, even a Sagittarius. I almost said fire. Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. Doesn't have to be, but I do feel like whoever is in your corner, Gemini, they're fierce. They're fiercely loyal. The Queen of Cups, she's intuitive, she's calm, she's loyal, she's well-rounded, she's psychic, she's a nurturer. Like, you're stepping into a space with somebody that, oddly enough, air signs, right? Gemini, if you're dealing with a water sign, they're representing to you what this situation lacked. And it's really very beautiful. And they're teaching you, they're guiding you to go, you know what, I have no control, I'm just going to let go. I don't have to implement my control. I don't have to be impatient. I don't have to be argumentative. And this person is going to represent security and consistency for you. And Spirit is saying it's exactly what your soul has needed. It's beautiful. It's beautiful energy. Gemini, you are learning something. And it's funny to see you dealing with, and again, it doesn't have to be, but Taurus, heavy on the Taurus, right? An earth sign, and then seeing you work well with water is an interesting concept. I'm not gonna lie, I've had a lot of air signs in my life, and those can be beautiful and they can be typhoons, right? They can be hurricanes. So it's an interesting energy to watch how you're alchemizing these things. And I think that it's really cool too when you look at this, because with this Magician and the Gemini card, you see how it goes out and comes back in, goes out and comes back in, right? It's a divine flow that's occurring. And then even with the balance, it's that there seems to be more of a push and pull with that Nine of Swords, but it's you alchemizing how to find that internal balance. Okay? All right. Advice for Gemini. I like this for you guys. Like, it's good. It's good. You're being tried and tested. And I do think there are people who disappoint you. And I do think there are people that their own insecurities, your insecurities of feeling, Spirit said, left out to some way. Like, you're triggering a jealousy within, I don't know where the jealousy thing's coming in, but that's what I'm hearing. You're triggering a jealousy or an insecurity within somebody else. And in regards to finances, this abundance and the heartbroken coming out, either you or this person or both of your finances could have been affected as a result of a loss. And again, going back 3 years ago. So it's like you're rebuilding a legacy for yourself with whomever this other person, this potential water sign is. They're working with you. The dragonfly, the lighthearted and adapt, finding out and change, things coming to light. Gemini, death, it's over, it's done. There's almost a part of you that says, I don't even care, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And as I said, like, you might not, it's triggering to have to see something that even was within you, right? I feel like with this energy, Spirit's asking you not to dwell on the whys, the hows, all of those things right now. Just put it to bed. Because in time, you're going to have a deeper understanding as you go through life by means of other lessons. And then looking back, like I said earlier, like you look back and go, well, gee, was I that person before? Shit, you know, like that's not cool. But I also feel like, Gemini, you're kind of embracing that death card energy of Scorpio of it's just done. Like when you get to the point that you're fed up, you don't want nothing to do with it. And what I think is really interesting is, Gemini, you know, you could tend to go back and go, well, maybe we could try this again, or maybe give them another chance. I don't see you doing that. There's going to be maybe 10% of you that will go back into this and give it another shot. For others of you, this is going to be a slow removal of your energy altogether over the next 4 years. For others of you, I do feel like by your season, Gemini, you're going to let this taper off. But it's going to, the timelining of the situation for all of you is going to be a bit different. But ultimately, when it's said and done, it's done. Okay? And you can't transform something with somebody who sees you as a threat to their security or vice versa. It doesn't work. Okay? All right. Advice for Gemini, please, Spirit. Many options, unconventional, one-night stand, string along, wedding rings, union, marriage, soul connection, everlasting love and devotion. Again, you know, I think that you could have seen, there could have been an uncertainty is what I'm going to say. This uncertainty around which direction you were going to go. And maybe some uncertainty on the part of another situation. I keep hearing mortgage for some reason. I don't know why. Mortgage in a house, and I said in the beginning, like, there's a lot around home, I think, but there's like some kind of long-term commitment, and it could be, you know, buying a car, buying a house, just making a move in general, changing jobs. It could be so many different things, right? But it was like a long-term commitment that, you know, it could have worked out in a variety of ways had the pieces fallen together in balance, and it just never did. It was in this, I didn't say false promises, but like where their words and actions, were they meeting? String along. Just enough to keep you engaged. Just enough to pacify you. The difference between you and them, though, Geminis, I don't even think you gave a shit about pacifying. You're just like, I don't want to do it today. You just said no. And then you would rejoin the world. Not by words, you know, you wouldn't speak upon it. You just did it. Whereas they speak and then they don't follow through. So some disappointments, you know, and pay attention too, because that's also a key thing here is how somebody commits their energy to you. Do they follow through? Gemini, do you follow through? Were you at a point where you didn't follow through with things, or have you dealt with somebody in the past that did not follow through with certain things, and that's a sore spot for you? 40:04 on the clock. So whatever this situation is where you're dealing with potentially a Taurus, have they strung you along enough just to keep you engaged? And then wedding rings, union, marriage, soul connection, everlasting devotion. I said this scorpionic energy here. I feel like they're coming in and standing up for you. They're supporting you. They're loving you, and they show it. That King of Wands does so by showing and acting upon, right? And they're showing you love. They're showing you what you were lacking. And look, there's that Three of Cups energy again. They're showing you what unity looks like. They're showing you what it is to heal, right? And it may not always be easy, because here you are with the Five of Swords, and there you are, Gemini, the Lover's card. It's been a painful situation. It's been hurt. It's been bloodshed. It's been deception. It's been lies. It's been defeat. It's been mental exhaustion. But someone else is creating space for you, and you could be creating this space for yourself too. Don't negate away from that potential here. But I do feel like that this support is coming from outside of yourself, because you've got this Three of Cups, and then with this card of sisterhood, look at that. They're damn near identical. Beautiful, right? So I do feel like you're being supported by somebody who is taking the action to show you that love and to show you what it is to stay true to their word. And that's kind of getting you away from all of this narcissistic love bombing. Let me give you a falsified sense of belief about what this is going to be, and then I failed to deliver. So, Gemini, there you go. Spirit said that other deck isn't even needed, so we're going to leave it at that. 42 minutes in. Gemini, I hope this reading was helpful and resonated for you. I'm sending you guys so much love. If you found it did, like, share, subscribe, comment. I appreciate each and every single one of you. You all take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.